Hi, welcome to the first BrandProtect video blog. My name is Dylan Sachs. I'm the manager of incident response here at BrandProtect, and my team is responsible for taking down phishing and malware sites, primarily for financial institutions. However, we do service quite a few online retail entities as well. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the more exciting things that I get to do, like going to security and online fraud-related conferences. This year, I actually got to go to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia for the APWG's annual CCOS conference. Also, I got to go to Vienna, Austria for the annual FIRST conference. Now, I'm not going to bore you with any of the details of my 24-hour flights to Malaysia because we all know that that's extremely boring. It helps quite a bit, though, if you have something to watch on the plane. I personally brought a couple of seasons of Mad Men. I highly recommend it. Now, I'm not going to bore you with any more details and chit-chat. I'm going to get right down to business. So the APWG conference is held at a different international location every year, and the focus is primarily on regional issues. So this year it was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so there was a focus on some of the Asiatic issues. The Rustock spam botnet was recently shut down, and it was responsible for 1/3 of global spam emails. And when that got shut down, Japan actually didn't see any change to the volume of mobile messaging spam that was going around. This indicates that the mobile messaging spammers are using their own botnet for perpetrating this type of fraud. Also, interestingly enough, it's primarily fake dating services that are being spammed over this mobile messaging platform, which either indicates there's a lot of really busy people or a lot of socially awkward people in Japan. I'm leaning towards the busy side myself. In Malaysia, they found that the vast majority of phishing emails were sent between the hours of 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. local time. And this indicates that phishing there is really a homegrown enterprise as opposed to North American institutions, which typically see everybody and their brother targeting them from all around the world. One of the other interesting things is that 1/3 of global cybercrime the global cybercrime market, which accounts for $2.5 billion annually, has a home in Russia. That's either from Russia or the money goes to Russia. To give you an idea of the scope of that, the movie Avatar, the highest grossing film of all time, which was released 2 years ago, has grossed $2.7 billion since its release. So in the 2 years it took that movie to gross that much money, that's 1 year of cybercrime profits in Russia. Now, one of the more data-heavy things that gets released with regards to the APWG is the Global Phishing Survey. And that's released every 6 months, and what it found this past half was there was a 40% increase in phishing attacks from the second half of 2010 versus the first half of 2010. And that's a little bit distressing, however, we did see that same kind of volume for our customers. 1/4 of all maliciously registered domains. So these are domains that are registered for the express purpose of being included in this type of fraud. 1/4 of those domains were used to target World of Warcraft or Battle.net, which is an online gaming platform. China is also getting very popular, so almost 20% of phishing sites that were reported in the second half of 2010 were targeting Chinese organizations, and 3/4 of those were targeting Taobao, which is an online shopping portal that sells everything from video cameras to computers to appliances to, well, basically everything. Also, interestingly enough, 50% of those maliciously registered domains that I was talking about were targeting Chinese organizations. As if you really needed another reason to believe that China was getting more powerful. Now, companies like BrandProtect have gotten really good at taking down standard and typical phishing sites, so the perpetrators have had to find new strategies. Subdomain use has increased almost 2x since the first half of 2010, into the second half of 2010. URL shorteners are also getting more popular, like bit.ly and goo.gl, and those have increased to over 1,000 attacks in the second half. What's most disturbing, though, is that uptimes for the second half of 2010 versus the second half of 2009 more than doubled. There are 72 hours on average in the second half of 2010 versus 30 hours in 2009. Median times have also increased from 15 hours to 15 hours in 2010 from only 12 in 2009. Now on to the FIRST conference. So this conference has a lot of really technical presentations that get really in-depth into things like malware analysis and intrusion detection strategies. But a common theme was, what was once old is new again. And this is evidenced most by a presentation that was given by one of my friends, Ian Amit from Israel. He was tasked with finding a way to exfiltrate data from a network that does not have a direct connection to the internet. So he hummed and hawed and weighed the pros and cons of various strategies, and ultimately came up with what I think is a really brilliant one. He wrote a little script to convert data into sound. And not just any sound, but something very melodic. And it sounds really good if you convert the right data. It sounds almost like a piece of classical music. So what he did is, this closed network actually had a VoIP system, and he converted the data into sound using his script, and then had the VoIP system make a phone call to a Google Voice number, leave a message, played back that audio, and then on the other end he decoded it. And if that sounds familiar, that's because all computers used to do that. Everybody used to connect to the internet and hear the beep, and that's basically a modem. And that's what he did, and I thought that was really brilliant. Eugene Kaspersky, yes, that Kaspersky, also gave a great presentation on cloud security and how the bad guys can leverage it, build up virtual botnets, and use the cloud system basically to increase the anonymity and therefore shield themselves from persecution even more. Another good friend of mine, Denis Maslenikov, did a great presentation on the underground economy of SMS cybercrime. And what he found was that one really well-planned attack could actually launch $1 million in revenue for the perpetrators. Now, SMS appears to be a big problem everywhere else. North America, it's not a huge deal, but everywhere else, SMS cybercrime is really growing on an exponential basis. Microsoft also did a great presentation with the results of Project Mariposa, which was a shutdown of another spamming botnet, which was also quite interesting. You should be able to find all of these presentations I've talked about online. One of the takeaways that I want to give to you, though, is that these conferences aren't just about acquiring information about various technologies and various investigations. It's also about meeting great people, and one of the things that I took away, at least, was that I really regained some confidence that we have some really brilliant people on our side, not just on the bad guys' side. They don't always follow where the big bucks are. I hope you join me next month when I'll be talking about mobile malware and how it will impact iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry application suites. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great day.